She texted, "I wish you were more like him," with a photo of her ex. I replied, "Me too." Then I became exactly like him, single, successful, and dating her younger cousin who actually appreciated me. Her family group chat went silent when the baby announcement dropped. I, 32M, never thought I'd be the type of guy who'd end up writing about relationship drama online. I've always been the handle it privately kind of person. But after everything that's happened, I think I need to lay it all out, not to vent, but to understand. I met Leah, 31F, 5 years ago through mutual friends. She was sharp, sarcastic in a charming way, and had that calm, effortless confidence that makes you think, this person has life figured out. She worked in marketing. I was, and still am, an IT project manager for a logistics company. Not glamorous, but solid. The kind of job that pays the bills on time and lets you sleep at night. When we started dating, she used to joke that I was the safe choice. I laughed it off, thinking she meant it affectionately, that I wasn't reckless like her exes, that I was stable. Looking back, I realized she probably meant it literally. Safe, predictable, unexciting. The first 2 years were great. We traveled, moved in together, adopted a rescue cat, did all the couple stuff. I thought we were building something solid. But around year 3, something in her shifted. It started with comparisons, small, casual ones. Her ex, Evan, came up more and more. Not in obvious ways. She'd just drop him into conversation like a reference point. Evan used to take me to concerts all the time. Evan was obsessed with fitness. He'd go to the gym twice a day. Evan could be such an ass, but he was so passionate. I remember joking once, should I start taking steroids and breaking plates to keep things exciting? She laughed, kissed me, said, "Don't be ridiculous. I love you because you're you." But the laughter felt thinner every time. By the 4th year, I started to notice she'd scroll Instagram for hours. Gym reels, motivational quotes, influencers talking about high-value relationships. She'd started posting those vague, performative captions too. Never settle for comfort when you can chase fire. You can't grow where you feel safe. It stung, because I knew she was talking about us. Then came the text. It was a Tuesday night. I was working late from home, half buried in reports. Leah was out meeting friends. Around 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. A message from her. "Leah, I wish you were more like him." Attached photo. Her ex, shirtless, flexing in a gym mirror. For a few seconds, I honestly thought it was a mistake. Maybe she meant to send it to a friend? Maybe it was a joke? Then I saw the 3 dots appear, the typing bubble, and vanish again. She'd realized what she'd done. I stared at the photo, then typed, "Me too." And that was it. No anger, no confrontation. Just that one message. She didn't reply. Didn't come home that night either. The next morning, she tried to explain. Said it was a dumb, impulsive thing. That she was just venting frustration. That she didn't actually want him. She just wanted more excitement. I listened quietly, then said, "Then maybe you should go find it." She cried. Said I was overreacting. Said I was throwing away 4 years over a mistake. I told her I wasn't throwing anything away. I was just stepping out of the line of fire. She moved out 2 weeks later. No drama, no fights. Just packed her things, left a key on the counter, and that was it. What I didn't know then was that her version of the story, the one she told her friends and family, was that I was emotionally distant, that I checked out, that she did everything to save it. Typical PR rewrite. But the thing about being underestimated, it gives you all the room in the world to rebuild quietly. And that's exactly what I did. The thing about humiliation is, if you sit with it long enough, it burns clean. At first, I was angry. Not loud angry. Just quiet, hollow, exhausted angry. The kind that makes you stare at your phone screen for an hour and feel absolutely nothing. For a few weeks, I just functioned. Work, gym, sleep. Repeat. Leah had moved out. I deleted her number, muted her socials, boxed the leftover photos and notes. I didn't throw them away. I just didn't need to see them. People think healing means purging. For me, it meant containment. One night, I caught myself scrolling back through old texts, the first months when everything was good. She used to say things like, "You're the calm I never had." I laughed out loud when I read that. The calm she never had. She wanted chaos, and she got it. That night, something shifted. Not a revenge spark. More like a reboot. If she wanted me to be more like him, fine. I'd become exactly like him. Except without the self-destructive stupidity. The gym part was the easiest. I'd always gone casually, 2 or 3 times a week. But now I treated it like therapy. 5 a.m. sessions, meal prep, tracking progress. By month 3, I dropped 10 pounds of fat and gained actual definition. By month 6, even my coworkers started asking what program I was on. I switched my wardrobe too, not in a dramatic, movie makeover way, just subtle things. Better fits, cleaner lines. I stopped dressing like a man, trying not to be noticed. I didn't post progress shots, didn't broadcast anything. I just built quietly. The peace came not from getting back at anyone, but from realizing how much I'd neglected myself trying to maintain someone else's comfort zone. I was the emotional provider, the stabilizer, the safe bet. Now, I was just me, and that was enough. A few months later, I ran into her cousin, Maya, at a mutual friend's cookout. I knew her vaguely, Leah's younger cousin by about 5 years. She'd been at our engagement party back when Leah and I were perfect. She'd always struck me as different, grounded, funny, a little blunt. When she saw me, she smiled wide. "Wow," she said, "you look different." "Good different or midlife crisis different?" I asked. She laughed. "The first one." We talked for maybe 20 minutes. Mostly light stuff. Work, family, dumb memes. But there was something about the way she looked at me. Not pity, not curiosity, just presence. A week later, she followed me on Instagram. Then she'd made me a dumb joke about one of my posts. One message turned into a conversation, then into plans, then into something I didn't expect. Dating her was easy. I kept waiting for the tension, the red flags, the tests, but none came. She was kind, funny, emotionally available in ways I didn't realize I'd been missing. She didn't care that I wasn't flashy. She actually liked that I read, that I cooked, that I worked hard and came home tired but content. Once, I made a small self-deprecating joke. "Guess I'm still the safe choice." She looked at me and said, "Good. Safe is what people who've been hurt deserve." It was the first time in a long while that I felt seen, not compared. Around this time, word started spreading in Leah's family that we were seeing each other. We hadn't gone public, but families have eyes everywhere. Maya asked if I was comfortable with it. I said, "I'm not doing this for anyone else. I'm happy. That's enough." Still, I knew how it looked, the optics, the gossip. "He's dating her cousin?" I braced for the messages. They came. Leah's brother sent me a text. "Man, really? Out of all people." I replied, "She makes me happy. That's all there is to it." He didn't respond. Neither did Leah's parents when I bumped into them months later at a family gathering Maya invited me to. They were polite, distant, uncomfortable. Leah wasn't there, thankfully. But I heard through a mutual friend that she lost it when she found out. Not in a dramatic way, more like a spiral. She posted cryptic quotes again, deleted them. Apparently, she said to her mother, "He's doing this to humiliate me." Funny thing was, she still didn't realize I wasn't doing anything to her. She just happened to still be watching. About 9 months after we started dating, Maya and I found out she was pregnant. It wasn't planned, but it wasn't a crisis either. We were both in stable jobs, emotionally aligned, and honestly, I was ready. Scared, sure, but ready. We decided to tell her family first before anyone else found out. We didn't make it dramatic, just a quiet Sunday dinner. Maya said it calmly, smiling but trembling a little. "I'm pregnant. We're having a baby." For a moment, nobody moved. Then her mother gasped, her aunt smiled awkwardly, and someone dropped a fork. Leah's father, who had been quiet the whole evening, cleared his throat and said, "Congratulations. That's big news." Maya squeezed my hand under the table. Later that night, apparently, someone posted the announcement photo in the extended family group chat. Maya holding the sonogram, me standing beside her, both of us grinning like idiots. A few hearts, a few congratulations. Then silence. Leah never said anything directly. But a few days later, one of her old friends, someone who still follows both of us, messaged me. She saw the photo, didn't say a word, just closed her phone and left. And that's when I realized something. The silence wasn't guilt. It wasn't pain. It was acceptance. Because she finally understood what I'd meant when I said, "Me too." I'd become exactly like the man she once compared me to. Single, successful, and with someone who actually saw me. Now, when people ask if I ever think about Leah, I tell them the truth. Not really. Not in the way people expect. Sometimes, I think about that version of me. The one who tried so hard to be enough for someone who only wanted excitement. He was kind. He was patient. And he died quietly the moment she sent that text. What replaced him wasn't vengeance. It was balance. I didn't become colder. I became clearer. And that clarity led me exactly where I needed to go. Update 1. It had been 4 months since the pregnancy announcement, and life had finally reached something like peace. Maya was in her second trimester, glowing, nesting, and obsessing over baby names. I was finishing a big project at work, sleeping well, eating better than I had in years. The silence from Leah's side of the world was complete. No messages, no accidental likes, no mutual friends reaching out. Just gone. And I thought that was the end of it. Then one evening, around 10:47 p.m., I got a message from an unknown number. Unknown, hey, it's Leah. I just stared at it for a while. The air in the room felt heavier, like an old memory had stepped inside and was standing quietly behind me. I typed back, "Hi." She replied almost immediately, "Can you talk?" I didn't answer right away. Maya was in the other room folding baby clothes. I told her I needed a minute to take a work call. She smiled and said okay. So I stepped outside, sat in my car, and called. Her voice was shaky but familiar, like hearing an old song you used to love before it got ruined by association. She started talking fast, apologizing, clarifying, circling back to things I'd already accepted years ago. "I know I have no right to reach out," she said. "I just needed to say, I'm sorry for what I said, for the way things ended." I didn't interrupt, just listened. She went on. "I saw the photos. You and Maya. You look happy, and you deserve it. I know that now. I just didn't back then." Her voice cracked a little on that last part. "I thought I wanted something different," she said. "Something more exciting. But it turns out I was just chasing a feeling. You were the one person who never made me feel small, and I threw that away." I let her speak. There was nothing for me to add. Every word she said was a shadow of the closure I'd already given myself. Then she said it, the one line that really stayed with me. "When I sent that text, I wasn't trying to hurt you. I just wanted you to wake up." I didn't realize I was the one who needed to. It was strange. I felt nothing sharp. No satisfaction. No pain. Just a kind of dull empathy for someone still stuck in the loop I'd already stepped out of. I told her, "I appreciate you saying that. I really do. But we're in different places now. And that's okay." She was quiet for a long moment, then whispered, "I know. I just needed to hear your voice once more." Then she hung up. That night, I sat in my car long after the call ended, staring at the dashboard lights. I wasn't angry. I wasn't nostalgic. I just felt old, like I'd finally closed a chapter one didn't even realize was still open. When I walked back inside, Maya was already asleep on the couch, curled up with a blanket and a hand resting on her stomach. I sat down next to her, brushed a strand of hair from her face, and thought, this is what love feels like when it's real. Not adrenaline, not validation, just calm. I deleted the number. 2 weeks later, though, something odd happened. One of Leah's friends, someone I hadn't heard from since the breakup, messaged me on Facebook. "Leah told me she called you. She's not doing great. Said you sounded happy." That kind of broke her. I didn't answer right away. Eventually, I typed, "I hope she finds peace. I really do. But I can't help her anymore." It felt cold to send, but it was true. You can't rescue someone who keeps setting their own house on fire and calling it warmth. A few months later, our daughter was born, Emma Grace. 7 pounds. Perfect. Loud as hell. Healthy. Maya was incredible. I've never respected another human being the way I respect her now. We sent out photos to close family and friends. No fanfare, no public announcement. Just quiet joy. Then, out of nowhere, I got another text. Same unknown number. "Leah, congratulations. She's beautiful." That one hit differently. Not in a painful way, just like a ghost gently closing a door behind her. I typed back, "Thank you." And that was it. No more contact since. If there's one thing I've learned through all this, it's that closure isn't a conversation. It's a process. Sometimes you don't get the apology you think you need. And sometimes you get it too late, long after it matters. Either way, it stops being about the other person. It becomes about what you do with the silence that follows. I used to think revenge meant proving someone wrong. Now I know it's just living right, long enough that proving anything stops mattering. Leah wasn't evil. She was lost. So was I, for a while. But we grew in opposite directions, and that's okay. Life's not about punishing people for failing to love you the way you wanted. It's about learning how to love yourself in the space they left behind. Final update. It's been 3 years since that night in the car. 3 years since Leah's call. 3 years since Emma was born. And every once in a while, when people ask about my story, I tell them bits and pieces. Never the whole thing, just the lessons that came out of it. Because the truth is, nobody really cares about the drama once it's over. What stays with you are the aftershocks, the habits, the fears, the small adjustments you make to feel safe again. Maya and I are married now. Small ceremony, beachside, just family and close friends. Leah wasn't invited, obviously, but I heard through mutual acquaintances that she saw the photos. She didn't comment. She didn't react. She just quietly unfollowed a few people we had in common. That was the end of that digital connection, the final thread cut without words. Emma's 2 now. She's got Maya's eyes, my hair, and more energy than a small power plant. Sometimes I catch her doing something random, stacking blocks, laughing at the cat, and I realize how absurd it is that an entire chain of heartbreak, bad choices, and impulsive texts somehow led to her. It's humbling, honestly. I ran into Leah once, maybe a year ago. It wasn't planned. I was at a hardware store, buying paint for Emma's room. She was in the next aisle, comparing something on her phone. We made brief eye contact. For a split second, we both froze, not out of awkwardness, but recognition. Like two people who'd read the same book and remembered the ending differently. She looked older, but not in a bad way, just like life had happened. We exchanged polite smiles. No small talk, no apology reruns, just mutual acknowledgement. Then we went our separate ways. That, weirdly enough, felt like the real closure. Sometimes, late at night, I scroll back through my old messages, archived ones, not because I missed them, but because they remind me of who I was. The version of me that said "me too" all those years ago. I think about him a lot. He wasn't trying to be clever. He wasn't even angry. He was just done. That line marked a quiet pivot in my life, from reacting to deciding, from needing to be seen to finally seeing myself. Leah's text was cruel, sure, but it was also a mirror. It forced me to look at everything I'd ignored, the complacency, the unspoken resentment, the quiet surrender that comes from trying too hard to hold something together that's already cracked. I don't blame her anymore. She was right. In a way, I wasn't like him. But she mistook stability for stagnation. She confused quiet love with boredom. And I confused being needed with being valued. That's the mistake that costs the most years. If you told me back then that I'd end up marrying her cousin, I'd have laughed in disbelief. But life has a strange sense of irony. Sometimes it repairs you using the same circle that broke you. Maya and I talk about it sometimes. Not often, but enough to keep the air clear. She knows everything. When we first got serious, she asked me straight up, "Do you still think about her?" I said, "Not about her. About the version of me that let it happen." She nodded and said, "Then we'll make sure he never comes back." That was the moment I knew I was safe again. Leah eventually moved away. Last I heard, she's living in another city, working remotely, single. Her Instagram, yes, I looked once, curiosity more than anything, is filled with travel photos, self-help quotes, and a lot of rediscovery posts. She looks fine, maybe even genuinely happy. That's good. I mean it. I don't wish her bad days. She gave me mine, but she also unknowingly handed me the blueprint for better ones. Without her, I'd probably still be drifting, comfortable, unchallenged, existing in quiet resignation. She shattered something in me that probably needed to be broken. A few months ago, Leah's mother, yes, her mother, sent us a handwritten card for Emma's birthday. Just a simple note. "We wish you all happiness and peace." She's a beautiful little girl. Take care of each other. No return address. Just initials. But I knew what it meant. An olive branch. Maybe even an apology by proxy. I showed it to Maya. She smiled, tucked it into Emma's baby book, and said, "Let's keep it." It's part of her story too. And that's when it really hit me. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It just stops it from controlling your present. I've learned that people love to romanticize revenge. They want the moment of triumph, the look on the ex's face, the stunned silence, the karmic victory. But that moment, when it comes, is fleeting. It's not fireworks. It's a whisper. The real win isn't when they regret losing you. It's when you stop needing them to. It's when the silence stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like peace. When you can look at what once destroyed you and say, I see it, I understand it, but it doesn't own me anymore. If you're reading this because you're in that place, the place where someone made you feel small, replaceable, invisible, here's what I've learned. You won't get even by being louder. You get even by becoming undeniably yourself. By rebuilding so quietly that when they finally look again, you're already out of sight, living a life they never thought you could have without them. And if they ever send that late night, I'm sorry text, you'll realize it's not them reaching out for forgiveness. It's them trying to borrow the peace you found without them. Don't give it away. The last thing Leah ever said to me in that final text was, she's beautiful. And she was right. But what she didn't realize was, she wasn't just talking about Emma. She was looking, unknowingly, at everything that grew from the ruins of what she destroyed. Peace, strength, love, the life I built when I finally stopped waiting for someone to choose me. And that, I think, is the most beautiful thing of all.